Coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya, this is TV47 News Tonight. To our top stories tonight. Tonight, the opposition now hints at going back to the streets over changes of the IEBC.
In fact, the country is beginning to get together. But it looks like our friends want to take Kenyans back to the streets.
Odinga and company say the changes are meant to rig the 2027 election.
The injustice being inflicted on the IEBC commissioners, if it proceeds as currently conceived, will mark the beginning of a massive pushback against the Ruto and those who think like him by the people of Kenya.
Parliament's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee divided over the fate of the IEBC4, with Azimio allied MPs staging a walkout. But will this move save the four, and what are their odds? Business people counting massive losses after a day-long countrywide power outage. Today's outage being the second in under a month. Welcome to the bulletin. Catherine Simalo is on the sign language docket. My name is Stanley Nyiringita. Now to top story. The Azimio Moja One Kenya faction is threatening to go back to the streets over the move to ousted the four dissenting IEBC commissioners, while calling on the IEBC vice chair and the three commissioners not to appear for the removal hearings. ODM leader Raila Odinga says the move will be counterproductive on the president. Mike Kagongo reports.
Honorable Junet, please, you can go.
ODM leader Raila Odinga has broken his silence over the ongoing removal process of the four dissenting IEBC commissioners, saying it will end badly for President William Ruto. Odinga accused President Ruto of exhibiting dictatorial tendencies, terming it as impunity, selective injustice and capture of institutions that will have grave consequences.
This kind of impunity, selective injustice and capture of institutions will have grave consequences. We are here to sound a warning. No one should lie to this regime that we will sit back and watch a return of the Nyayo regime by another name.
Odinga deemed Ruto's government as one that targets the institutions and individuals the regime thinks did not dance enough to its tunes during campaigns.
None of the commissioners was found to have committed any offense. Only Chebukati was found to have acted unilaterally. This probe is therefore politically motivated. It is a continuation of the witch hunt mission that Ruto is on.
The former premier said President Ruto's regime has trained its guns on the four IEBC commissioners: Deputy Chairperson Juliana Cherera, Francis Madenge, Irene Masit and Justice Nyang'aya, who expressed reservations over the process that led to the declaration of William Ruto as president. According to Odinga, the process whose outcome is predetermined is already underway at the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly. Members of the committee affiliated with the Azimio camp, however, walked out of the hearing in protest, saying the committee has no jurisdiction to prosecute the petitions. In a press statement shortly thereafter, Raila warned that if the removal process of the four commissioners continues unabated, it will end in premium tiers for some individuals, insisting that the revenge mission of selective injustice is being steamrolled by none other than the speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate, and President William Ruto.
The four commissioners are supposed to appear before this committee, be found guilty, and be made to appear before a tribunal to be set up by Mr. Ruto that will confirm their guilt. They will then be thrown out of the IEBC. This revenge mission of selective injustice is being steamrolled by none other than the speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate and Mr. William Ruto.
The country is beginning to get together. But it looks like our friends want to take Kenyans back to the streets. Kenyans would have wanted a peaceful Christmas. But why are you doing this to our country?
Further, Odinga says as the country faces monumental challenges, Ruto's leadership is consumed with exacting revenge and laying ground for stealing elections in 2027, which is what the case against Cherera and her team is about.
The Ruto administration supports this conspiracy because it wants to pick a set of user-friendly commissioners to complete the capture of IBC for the 2027 elections. And even the law, the regulation that was agreed upon on how to select a panel that will interview and recommend the new commissioners is also being amended.
The 4 commissioners, and especially the deputy chair, from taking over as provided by the law. It is totally a travesty of justice. And once again, let Kenyans of goodwill stand together to stop this.
On Wednesday, Commissioner Masit filed a preliminary objection seeking to stop the Legal and Justice Affairs Committee from hearing the 4 petitions. Mike, GOtv 47, Nairobi.
Well, thank you for that, Mike Kagongo. Let's jump into some matters of security before we go back to the IBC drum rolls. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has ordered the immediate recruitment of 200 National Police Reservists, that is NPRS, to be deployed along the borders of Wajir and Isiolo counties after the vetting, training and armament of chiefs and assistant chiefs in the area to help with the maintenance of law and order. Kindiki further directed the formation of a 20-member Council of Elders drawn from both counties to formulate initiatives for lasting inter-community peace. The CS conducted visits to Arabajan and Dadabachatsa to engage with the communities. He was accompanied by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Nur Gabo.
Niambia DIG pamoja na IG wahakikisha kwamba hiyo camp inaitwa Elkale tufungue, tulete askari wa astu hapo haraka iwezekanavyo. And therefore we'll have 2 camps in this place, 2 anti-stock theft unit camps, hiyo ya Baragodhi washirikiane na hii ingine ya Elkale ili tuongezee maofisa ambao watasaidia kulinda usalama. Nataka nitangaze hapa leo, nimeamrisha ile National Police Reservice ambayo iko hapa katika hii mpaka ya Wajir West na pande ya Meriti hapa, pande hii ya Wajir West nimeamrisha ziongezwe bunduki 200 ili ziweze kulinda usalama mahali hapa. Ningetoa mwito kwa County Commissioner na police kwa sababu County Commissioner ndiye mwenyekiti wa kamati ya usalama hapa katika county, pamoja na police commander, muketi chini na viongozi hawa ambao wamechaguliwa, tuanze mpango mara moja wa kufanya vetting ya 200 new National Police Reservists ambao watafanyiwa training, na hiyo training itafanywa. Ningetaka kurudi hapa.
Let's jump into some matters classroom and the confusion of the school fees that will have to be paid with the resumption of the normal school calendar is giving parents sleepless nights, with parents saying they feel left down by the government. And education experts on their part are accusing Mashogu of making what they term as roadside decisions without consulting education stakeholders. Paul Kirabi reports.
Even after the Ministry of Education issued a clarification on the school fees issue, the damage seems to have already been done, with some schools already sending alert to parents that they are reverting to pre-COVID season school fees. A section of parents have already questioned President William Ruto's key agenda of transforming education sector and ensuring he fulfills his pledges in the education sector. In Kenya Kwanza manifesto, Ruto's government promised to establish a national education fund to mobilize grants, bursaries and scholarships from private and public sponsors to cater for non-tuition cost.
The PS of education, both basic and higher education, have not been approved by Parliament. And therefore, It seems now he's consulting the old PS, or we are back to the roadside declarations.
We are talking about 2022 going to 2023. The cost of living has skyrocketed. The price of products has continued to increase, but the school fees has remained constant. So I am not going to cry about it, but be realistic about even these particular principles where we take our children to them.
The directives, which is seen as a ploy to remove subsidy program, comes at the backdrop of the harsh economic times the country is facing.
Education Act, yes, should be in place such that it protects even the poor. I can imagine a bright child who was being given, for example, subsidy or who was being funded, and then the school fees all of a sudden goes up. Are we being told that that child will be sent home? Yes? Are we being told that that child will need to change schools now because they will not be able to afford some of the schools?
Challenges that we have, it makes some sense. But I think also in the long run we should urge the government to ensure that they are making this education affordable. Article 53 of the Constitution talks about free compulsory primary education. And therefore when the government keeps on charging this particular amount of money, it is not in line with the Constitution. And therefore that is why I'm proposing that the government should completely phase out boarding schools in the long run. And therefore the government should encourage this particular debate.
Last year, due to the compressed school calendar, which was occasioned by COVID-19, the ministry reduced fees by 8,500 for national schools, while extra county and county schools, they were reduced by 5,500 less. But come January, the new school fees will be 22,244 for day schools, 66,400 for boarding schools, and 69,800 for special needs school. Out of this, the government provides subsidy of 12,800 for regular schools and 32,600 for special needs schools, while parents contribute only 9,300 for day schools, 53,500 for boarding schools, and 37,200 for special needs schools. Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
And still on the same bait, the government has merged some examination centers in Baringo County after bandits destroy the infrastructure in some schools. Class 8 and grade 6 candidates will have to have their rehearsals tomorrow in preparations to sit for the national examinations Monday next week.
Kuna shule inaitwa Arabal ambaye iko na candidates 18 wa KCPE na pia wako na watoto 14 wale tunasema grade 6. Na pia kuna shule ile inaitwa Kapindasum wako na candidates 36 wa KCPE. Hawa wataenda kufanya mitihani yao shule inayojulikana kama Chimorongion Primary School. Na sababu si mambo ya utofu usalama. Sababu kuu ni hao wahalifu wale tunawaita bandits. Wameweza kuvandalize hizo mashule. Wengine hata wamechoma madawati na hata vitabu ya watoto. Hiyo ni sabotage ya hali ya juu. Lakini hiyo kamwe haitakubalika na serikali. Tumeleta utulivu katika hiyo sehemu.
And poverty levels across the country have continued to affect the 100% transition from primary to secondary education policy as many bright but needy students remain at home despite completing their primary education. Our reporter Paul Muniu met and spoke with Haron Kitty, a 16-year-old who managed to score 344 marks in KCPE earlier this year but is yet to join secondary school.
An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. However, that kind of an investment may fail to be implemented when many families across the country are grappling with harsh economic times. In a bid to attain universal basic education, former Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha proposed a policy to ensure that all children enroll in primary school and complete their secondary school education with a 100% transition rate.
Basomi kwa sababu hakuna fedha nyumbani na matatizo ni kibaya sana, lazima mimi ndo
Unfortunately, some bright minds have since been left behind in the program, like Harun Kiti, who scored 344 marks in his KCPE exams and is yet to join any secondary school.
Nikipata msaada kama hivyo mimi mwenyewe nitang'ang'ana shuleni. Nitakisha nimetoboa masomoni. Ila mimi nikiwa sasa nataka nje kwenye daktari.
Apate ili naye au atakuwa taa kwangu na angalau nami sida nyingi zipumzike.
They claim the bursary program for needy students available from the devolved government is not enough to cover all expenses, especially for students joining secondary schools.
Mimi ningeomba tu viongozi wetu washughulikie familia kama hizi. Msasi kama huyu akija akinjieleza, hata kama nio CDF mnaona kabisa hana uwezo wowote wa hizo zingine za top up, wanachukua jukumu la kuhakikisha yule mtoto ameenda kusoma.
Significantly, a high rate of dropping out of school leads to high-risk behaviors such as early pregnancies, crime, violence, drug abuse and suicide.
Ukiangalia watoto wanajikakamua kusoma. Wakimaliza darasa la 8 hapo ndio mwisho. Kwa sababu hawana matumaini ya kuendelea. Ukienda kwa mzazi anakuambia hapo nimeng'ang'ana ndio mwisho wangu. Kwa hivyo msichana anaona kuliko tuteseke wote hapa, anaamua anaolewa. Wavulana nao wanajingiza kwa wizi, wengine uvutaji wa bangi.
Paul Muniu, TV 47, Kilifi County.
Thank you for that, Paul Muniu, and as popularly baptized now, Abdallah. Now to the politics of maize, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has termed the move by the Ministry of Trade to import GMO maize duty-free a political decision. Kalonzo either lamented that the country is still reeling with the shock of drought and thus the timing of the importation is wrong. This even as leaders from maize-growing areas are pointing a blaming finger at the Ministry of Trade for making unilateral decisions. Maize farmers from Elgeyo Marakwet are up in arms, claiming that the government has not consulted them before importing maize into the country. This comes after Trade, Industry and Cooperative CS Moses Kuria announced that the government will soon allow a 6-month duty-free importation of 10 million bags of GMO and non-GMO maize for food security.
So tunauliza serikali waangalie jinsi wanaweza kutusaidia mpaka Januari, Februari wanaweza kuimport kama yetu haitachaa vile wanataka.
Area leaders in the maize-growing regions of the country are also singing the same tunes, pointing an accusing finger at Moses Kuria for having a one-man show. According to Nandi Governor Stephen Sang, legislators should formulate policies that will shield farmers so as to avoid impoverishing them.
Why do you want to import maize to go and distribute in the areas of our country that are facing famine when we have maize in our region? Why don't you start by mopping up and buying the maize from ourselves? Why are you supporting foreign farmers more than your own farmers?
Weighing in on the matter, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has faulted the importation move, claiming that it was politically instigated.
GMO without any public participation. And here I want to thank the Catholic Church for beginning to show leadership. We're not going to kill our people through GMO. And I think as Kenyans, we are very good at forgetting things very fast, but how do we forget about that which is going to kill us with cancer?
Even as the government prepares to distribute the imported grains to the public, some experts say the country should start looking for ways to mitigate the effects of GMO.
One is that some of the materials used in manufacture of GMO maize may cause allergic reactions, being that we have added toxins that are affecting the growth of insects in the food production. And for that reason, we would say that Kenyans can take the food only for the reason that we're in an emergency. But long term, we need to look for better ways of food production.
As the push and pull of the imported GMO maize continues to grow rife, all eyes are now fixated on the CS trade Moses Kuria if he will issue the gazette notice of the imported maize and answer the pertinent questions raised around it. Now tonight, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee remains divided, with Azimio Allied MPs insisting that the committee has no jurisdiction to prosecute the now infamous IEBC4. But does the walkout they staged have any impact on the fate of the 4 dissenting commissioners? Elizabeth Mutuku with some answers.
After attempts by the dissenting IEBC commissioners to stop Parliament's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee from probing the conduct in the run-up to the announcement of the presidential results, the moment of reckoning for the 4 dissenting commissioners began, but not without a tussle. Azimio la Umoja leaders Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua showed up in the committee unexpectedly for solidarity.
By standing orders as regards the timelines.
Back and forth ensued on whether the petitions should be heard before the preliminaries objections by the 4 IEBC commissioners, though the chairman stood his ground, thus forcing the committee to adjourn for minutes.
Every time we speak, we go back to where we are. Good. Are we saying that members of this committee do not have an authority, do not have views which they can express and which then can turn into issues that we can deal with?
Consult experts
on
these issues. Some of us are laymen. The other day when we were in the committee...
Honorable Junet, please, you can't go on forever.
Let me finish.
Please.
The other day when I was in the committee, we did not agree on this timetable, but you used some words. Somebody who's like me, who's not a lawyer, will not understand. Those things I have to go and consult.
Thank you.
This is after a section of members of the committee allied to the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya expressed displeasure on the modus operandi of the committee, and in a tour where lawyers representing the infamous Cherera 4, it was however expected as minority side showed signs of dissent from the onset. Lawyers Donald Kipkoril, Apollo Mboya and Dunstan Omari, among others, put a spirited fight, urging the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee to strike off the 4 petitions for lack of jurisdiction.
But Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, if you look at Section 16 of the Political Parties Act, a political party is a corporate body. There is no way a person purporting to be a chairman can sign a petition. There is no seal of the party. There is no confirmation or evidence that the party is set to pass a resolution for that Mr. Zakaria to file this petition.
Reverend Dennis Ndwiga Zumbi. Again here, this petition falls flat on account of Article 250, Sub-Article 9 of the Constitution. Pardon? Yes, that is the immunity section that you cannot hold against the commissioners who are doing their work and did their work in a fairly and in good faith performed their function.
We urge this committee not to fall into that political trap, to move so fast, and recommend so that a tribunal is set to remove the current vice chair. Every indication looks at that. The legal requirement, the constitutional requirement have been intentionally flouted to allow the current chair to continue in the absence of the 4.
This is despite a letter from House Speaker Moses Wetangula, who ratified the sittings as being above board.
Even before the petitions, a cabinet minister has approached one of them and told them they are ready to pay them off all their term.
Honorable Junet,
when that was not done, is when now the petition was brought. And the cabinet
Honorable Junet, you're out of order.
The road here.
You're out
and
of order.
Them, even the ones who have done good job, like Chebukati and the other 2, we are giving them good jobs in government. One is becoming High Court of Appeal judge, and the other ones are becoming ambassadors. Can you take up those? Chair, let us not involve ourselves in charade. Let us not...
You're out of order, Honorable Junet.
Kenyans we are serving in this country.
Honorable Junet.
This, however, did not stop the committee from proceeding with their probe, with petitioners appearing before George Murungara's led committee, with Liberty Party and Reverend Dennis Ndumpi insisting that the 4 should go for incompetence and trying to interfere with the election process.
Finds that the 4 commissioners, namely Juliana Cherera, Justice Nyang'aya, Irene Masit, and Francis Wandera, were involved in gross misconduct in the performance of their office or as functions as commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission.
Commissioners committed serious violations of the Constitution. The IBC Act, the Leadership and Integrity Act, the Public Officers Ethics Act, and their conduct in performance of their duties as commissioners in the 2022 presidential elections demonstrates and amounts to serious violations of the Constitution, gross misconduct, and incompetence, as I have read on the grounds of removal on Article 251.
The two were, however, hard pressed to explain the basis of their petitions, with the committee requiring tangible evidence.
The petitioners to allow us prosecute this matter by way of written submissions without listening, because in any case, by the way, when I listen more and more and more, the whole thing then to this extent lacks what I would want to hear as a substantive petition that warrants one's removal.
Back and forth in the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and which culminated to Azimio faction walking out. The process continues. On whether the four commissioners will appear before it to present their case is a matter of wait and see. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV 47 Palm Biddings, Nairobi.
Thank you for that, Elizabeth Mutuku. Now, from the whole spirit of division to spirit of unity, the Media Council of Kenya, which has called for investigations into an attack meted on a journalist by security detail attached to Second Lady Dorcas Gachagua during a food distribution drive. The incident circulated on social media. The security officers are seen roughing up the journalist, with one landing a heavy blow on him. The Nation Media Group journalist had gone to cover the food distribution exercise in Murang'a County, which was being overseen by the Second Lady. When the incident happened, Media Council Chief Executive Officer David Omoyo condemned the act, terming it shameful and that it should be punished.
Attending a function at a Greystone area of Ithanga Kakuzi sub-county, where the Second Lady was distributing relief food to hunger-stricken people. And in the process of I executing my duty of recording the event as it happened, some, I would call them overzealous officers from her security detail grabbed my phone. And in the process of retrieving it back, they assaulted me. The media is not there by default on the ground. It is there by right. And when these incidents happen, they can be rest assured that they will be pursued to their logical conclusion. Because I lost a phone and I lost some 55 shillings. So you wonder how people who are guarding Second Lady can still achieve phone and shillings 55.
Well, hopefully the perpetrators are brought to book. Now, to some matters, electricity. Business that rely on electricity have encountered massive losses after a huge power blackout that engulfed a huge part of the country. Kenya Power says power has since been restored, but not without traders crying foul, with some calling for compensation from the power distributor.
For the second time under a month, the Kenyans who depend on electricity for their daily business are recounting massive losses after a day-long near nationwide blackout. According to the power distributor, the outage was occasioned by system disturbance at the Isinya substation. The feeders that were affected include the Breweries 1, which feeds several estates along the Thika superhighway. The streams that has been affected by the outage are Kibiku Ngong Town, Nyariji West Sianda, Kamkunji Mdhurwa, Halingam Northwest and Kibwezi Kiboko, among others. The regions that were affected include Western Region, South Nyanza, North Rift, Central Rift and Nairobi. This is not the first time for the company to witness the problem affecting traders who depend on electricity for their daily activities, making them incur heavy losses. Some of the traders affected are the barbers, the welders and the M-Pesa agents. The company says that the problem has already been fixed in some areas and that all operation will continue as normal. Chaemba Emmanuel, TV 47, Nairobi.
Now to some bilateral ties. President William Ruto's trip to South Korea has come to an end today, as he has signed a business entrepreneur zone with South Korea government, and Kenya will prioritize the establishment of special economic zones. Like Hirano with more.
The 3-day visit came to an end with Kenya and South Korea agreeing to remove existing bottlenecks and set up conducive environment in business, technology, infrastructure, and health sector, which will benefit both countries. The latest being fresh negotiations between the two countries on free movement of goods to the Asian country, which could see Kenya reap big. This emerged Thursday during a bilateral meeting between Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria and his South Korean Trade Minister Duken An. Other deals include the setting up in strategic areas such as Dongokundu, Lamu County, Naivasha, Sagana, so that the country boosts its industrialization that will in turn spur economic growth. President William Ruto explained that Kenya will also leverage on Korea's cutting-edge technology to enhance the digital economy, boost business and create employment.
Residents can enjoy.
Also, Kenya has started the process of becoming a member of the International Vaccine Institute, Ruto acknowledging that the country will follow the membership process because there is a lot to gain for the country and the region.
There can be an unnecessary crisis whenever you need vaccines at short notice, especially in the context of what we saw in the COVID pandemic.
Kenya will work with the Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, IVI, and other institutions in the production of pharmaceutical and development of vaccines. Reporting for TV47, I'm Lucky Heriano.
Right, thank you, Lucky Heriano, for that. After the short break, I'll be telling you why some Kenyans still want to go to Qatar. Stick around for that.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Shhh. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
It has over 80,000 members, with its presence felt through 10 branches in Kiambu and Nairobi, with an asset base of 4 billion Kenya shillings.
TaiSacco was founded way back in 1992 by tea farmers.
We decided to change the name from Kiambu Tea Sacco now to TaiSacco, so that we can be able to bring on board other sectors, civil servants, teachers.
We have the M-banking service. Our members can be able to transact at the comfort of their homes.
We have some in the US, Dubai, in the UK as well.
Tai is the Kiswahili name for eagle. It has focus.
Sikuwa na mashini hata moja, tulikuwa tunaosha na mikono. I was able kupata loan ya kwanza. Nikanunua mashini ya kwanza.
Nilienda nikapewa pesa ya loan, nikanunua ng'ombe, nikaongeza sababu nilikuwa na moja.
TaiSacco was that year's journey has been a game changer to all our members.
We got 40 million from Tai with easy payment terms. I will not hesitate to recommend Tai to any business person.
Well, do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. tasty. 328, account name TV47, win Lotto. Everyone's a winner. Remember, send 50 shillings to the payable number 328, account name TV47, and win with TV47 and win Lotto. This has been authorized by the Betting Control and Licensing Board of Kenya. BCLB number 000885. Play responsibly, not for people under the age of 18.
The secret to an instant glow and spotless skin. Acne C10 is a 10% pure vitamin C serum that effectively fades dark spots and clears dark patches. With a unique formulation, it is quickly absorbed deep into the skin to give optimal results. Acne C10, 10% pure vitamin C serum, safe on all skin types.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Right, welcome to your number one home of untold stories. Now listen to this next story. With World Cup just 5 days in, a good number of Uasin Gishu residents are a disgruntled lot after failing to make a trip to Qatar, even after making payments to an agency that was to facilitate the travel. Collins Lusweti with more.
Sasa kanipatia insurance fake, nikaenda embassy nikanyimwa visa, ndio insurance yenye nilipatia ilikuwa kumbe edited.
A section of Uasin Gishu residents are now crying foul of unfulfilled job promises by First Choice Traveling Agency. The disappointed residents claim the agency advertised a number of FIFA World Cup jobs in Qatar, with interested individuals required to pay a sum total of 40,000 Kenya shillings. However, with 4 days since the start of World Cup, the applicants have been unable to travel, with the agency remaining silent over the matter.
Okay, sisi mimi nilipata kujua about First Choice through Uasin Gishu County Government. Walipiga advertisement the whole town and walikuwa na zile job offers za kwenda Qatar FIFA World Cup. So I visited their offices hapo Bandaptai 3rd floor and I paid my money 40,400 shillings nikiwa na matumaini ya kwenda Qatar FIFA World Cup jobs.
Pesa yetu irudishwe 40,000 ambayo tulikuwa tumelipa commission. As we are aware that World Cup ilianza hakuna kwenda. Tuliona kwamba on news, tuliona kwamba alikuwa anajaribu kusema kwamba ati wanapeleka watu Qatar. Alikuwa news on Saturday akisema kwamba ati wanapeleka watu Qatar. Tunashangaa watu kani wanaenda Qatar na sisi ndio watu tulipa pesa.
Some say they are now unwanted at home after convincing family members to sell properties including land to ensure they meet the payment requirement and travel to Qatar.
Right now naendeshia mtu bodaboda paying someone 400,000. Also I influence my family wakauza shamba pia kulipia my sister for such kind of scenario. Wengine hata tumefukuzwa nyumbani, hata nyumbani mimi saizi ni outcast kwa sababu waliuza shamba, nilidanganya mimi ni mkora sasa.
Their efforts to find help from the county government of Uasin Gishu, which they say played a leading role in advertising the agency and jobs throughout the county, have been unsuccessful. They are now worried that the officials of the agency might be compromising relevant offices to ensure they don't get any assistance.
Tunatoka kwa poor families na hii pesa nyingine ni a loan, wengine tumeomba kutoka familia, wengine tumefanya michango na tujui hata tutasaidika na nani hapa hivi.
The agency has also been accused of issuing fake insurance documents to residents who were promised jobs in Poland. Some of the victims say they have received threats from officials of the agency not to pursue the matter any further.
Sijapata usaidizi wote mpaka this time. Hata saizi nimekuwa intimidated, nimetishiwa I'm one of the ring leaders kwa sababu I aired this thing on Twitter. Kwa sababu I aired on Twitter, sasa wanasema I'm the ring leader na nimetishiwa kwamba if anything happens or I mobilize people I will be held accountable for hiyo demonstration yote. Na sasa tunaomba president, kama unatusikiza, sisi ni vijana na tumeteseka sana, hatuna kazi, tumegraduate kutoka campuses, tunaomba usaidizi wako.
Our attempts to reach out to the officials of the agency for response were futile. Collins Lusweti, TV47.
Thank you for that, Lusweti. On a lighter note, probably the agency iliwa Qatar. And from that to some county matters, a 59-year-old businessman has been found dead in Kirinyaga County. According to the residents, the helpless man was found naked and dead in his house in a suspected robbing after a night of merrymaking. Henry Juma tells us this and other developing stories from the counties.
Residents of Kirinyaga are in shock after a 59-year-old man was found naked and dead in unclear circumstances. The man is said to have met his death in the company of 2 women after a night of merrymaking.
Saka serikali watusaidie ndio tujue nani akina hawa walienda mpaka hii masiti tunaiona huku nyuma ya nyumba na inakaanga kwa nyumba ndani, sasa iko nje.
Hii bed sheet ya kitanda ilikujaji hapa nyumba kwa nyuma ya nyumba kwa fence na sio kwa gate, na mwanya imepasuliwa. Nani alipasua? Na ni kama kulikuwa na mvurutano, kulikuwa na mambo.
In Machakos County, normal business came to a standstill after Machakos University students blocked roads around the region, accusing police of sleeping on the job, leading to high cases of insecurity in the area.
I would love to also reiterate that a comrade with one eye cannot see. On top of that, I will also have to add that a comrade with one ear cannot hear. We are here because of cases of insecurity in Machakos. We understand that insecurity has not been a major issue in Machakos, but in major parts of the country.
We are coming to the society because more than 25 intellects, comrades of our own students has been so much tortured, assassinated from this town. And we are appealing to the society.
Machakos County Police Commander Issa Mohammed has issued a stern warning, asking students to desist from the act, terming their protest as a sabotage of law enforcement officers' efforts to stop crime.
We will not allow that. We will use full force of the law. And that's the time now we will see our true colors. We will not accept that. We will protect the life and property of the people of Machakos.
In Nairobi County, residents of Kayole are staring at a possible outbreak of cholera due to untreated sewage spilling all over, with the area authorities making no effort to curb the situation.
Hii kitu kirudiwe kuweko back to standard. Afya ni nzuri sana hata kuliko hii mabarabara. Hii pipe iliweka hapa ni inchi 4. Iwekwe pipe kubwa hata 12 inches ya kubeba uchafu. Sasa hata hii pengine hata kiatu siki mawe ndiye ilifunga peke yake.
Residents are now calling on the Nairobi County government to intervene and save them from the deadly infection which awaits them.
Mimi saizi nalaumu serikali sababu tuko na maji ilikuja huku Soweto fresh. Kwenda kuchotewa hiyo maji ilikuwa inanuka sewage. Kumaanisha hiyo maji nani sewage zimeblock. Sina nani simechanganyikana pipe ya maji safi imechanganyikana pipe ya maji ya choo.
Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
The Directorate of Public Prosecutions has approved charges of murder against a controversial police officer based in Eastleigh. This is after the Independent Police Oversight Authority published a statement indicating that it has established enough evidence to charge the officer with the offense of murder.
In a statement released by the Independent Police Oversight Authority on Thursday, the police watchdog said it has concluded investigations into the deaths of Jamal Mohammed and Mohammed Dahir Khairi following a shooting incident in Eastleigh Estate on 31st March 2017 and consequently forwarded evidence to the DPP with a recommendation to charge the officer with murder. IPOA also moved to the High Court at Milimani, Nairobi, and obtained summons against the police officer to attend court and take a plea on December 8, 2022. Officer Ahmed Rashid was caught on video in March 2017 executing 2 Eastleigh-based suspected gangsters in broad daylight, where he first shot a young man and then took a gun from his colleague and shot an additional 4 bullets to the suspect, who was already on the ground. During the time of the incident, Rashid led the feared Pangani 6 unit, an alleged killer police squad operating in Eastleigh and Mathare slums, linked to a number of extrajudicial police killings in the areas. At the time, Ahmed received praise and condemnation in equal measure over his methods to stop crime. He has managed to contain crime levels in the area, during which some locals complained he applied extrajudicial means. This comes in the wake of a series of cases against police officers over alleged extrajudicial killings, with 9 members of the disbanded DCI SSU unit facing abduction charges involving 2 missing Indians and their driver. Other charges faced by police officers include the death of Baby Pendo in Kisumu in 2017 and shooting and killing of 4 people on June 2nd, 2022 at Masimba area, Kajiado County, during a protest by a mob over increased attacks by wild animals. Rashid is set to take plea on December 8, 2022 after the Independent Policing Oversight Authority (IPOA) obtained summoning orders from the Milimani High Court to have the officer appear in court. Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
From that, a Nairobi River Commission is being formed as the government pushes for efforts to reclaim and clean up the Nairobi River. The commission will be established, according to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, to spearhead the cleaning of the river and restore it to its natural state. He claims that both state and non-state actors, such as UN agencies, will be a part of the commission. The commission will be ordered to stop pollution, clean the river, and create livelihood once formulated. Environment Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya, who was also at the meeting, said getting Nairobi River clean will involve the active participation of key decision makers at a policy level, as well as Nairobi residents who have for years lived by the river or depended on it for their livelihood.
And you create Nairobi River Commission to coordinate activities among all the stakeholders, because none of us can work on it alone. The amount of work that needs to be done is enormous. The resources required are substantial. The technical input that is required is quite something. And no single actor can deal with the issue of Nairobi River alone. So President William Ruto has given me instructions to make Nairobi River Commission operational, so that we can start, all of us together as the various stakeholders, a concerted effort to sort out the issues of Nairobi River, so that we do away with the pollution, make the river clean and usable, create livelihoods for people along the river, make it a recreational center, make it attractive, make it clean, and restore our environment to the acceptable levels along that river.
Now, from repairing rivers now to repairing roads, residents of Kibwezi are calling on the county government of Makueni to expedite the repair and construction of roads that have been destroyed by the ongoing rains. Speaking in Thange, where transport activities have been disrupted at Kungumu area, the residents say that they are having a hard time to perform their daily activities due to the bad roads that also pose a danger to users. They say that despite complaining about the poor state of the roads, nothing has been done by the county government so far.
Watu hawaendi huko kwa kazi zimekatika sababu hii njia imeharibika. Hakuna motorbike inapita, hakuna gari inaweza pita hapa, na tunalilia county government na tunalilia serikali yoyote, wale watasikia kilio yetu. Tumelia safari mingi na hakuna watu wanasikia.
Kama kungekuwa na barabara nzuri, tungekuwa tuna supply mpaka Indiria kwa customers wengine. Kwa hivyo serikali tunahitaji tu watengeneze barabara tuweze kufikia customers wengi na kazi ikuwe rahisi kwa wakati mfupi.
To the world of business, small and medium-scale millers in partnership with the Sanku Project and the World Food Programme have today held a consultative meeting aimed at finding solution to address the issue of malnutrition in drought-affected parts of the country. During the media briefing, Felix Brooks, the Sanku CEO, and Brenda Obura from the Ministry of Health asked small-scale and medium millers to utilize the harvest and consider maize flour fortification as a way of improving the nutrition and health of populations who consume these foods.
We've been carrying out research in food fortification since 2017. The EU has funded us to do this. So we did firstly the baseline indication of where fortification is. When we came in 2017, fortification was only at 17% for maize milling. Based on the gains and the concerted efforts, now maize milling at 76, it's at 46%. Wheat flour was at 18%, but based on what we see, the current results for 2021 indicate wheat flour is at 74%.
Malnutrition rates, unfortunately, are very high, and that's why we're here. I believe it's 1 out of every 2 preschool children are vitamin A deficient. 1 out of every 3 women of reproductive age or pregnant women are iron deficient. So the need is there. We do have a solution with our partners. If we can get these key nutrients into their food, the food they eat every day, those rates will drop.
Addressing malnutrition generally, we are not saying that fortification is the silver bullet, but there are other measures that we're also using as a country. We are doing a lot of supplementation, and basically supplementation of vitamin A in children, in schools. And then we're also doing IFAS for pregnant women, that is iron, folic.
We want to understand or characterize these portion millers. Are they able or can they be able to contribute to fortification agenda in the country? What we do know, more than 40% of Kenyan population access their maize flour from the portion millers. Basically where the households take a portion of some maize, take to the portion mill for milling for household consumption. And by this, we are leaving most of the communities behind with the rich with micronutrient fortification.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has emphasized the need to hasten bilateral relationships between Kenya and the Nordic countries of Norway and Sweden so as to broaden business investment through public-private partnerships. Speaking during the tripartite Kenya, Sweden and Norway Business Summit in Nairobi, the one-time Kenya's finance minister said in order to build capacity and open more markets for investment, the agreements being signed amongst the 3 countries should be of mutual benefit to business people and citizens of the 3 countries.
Bilateral relations with Norway have grown greatly over time in environment, energy, health, and education sectors. We look forward to development cooperation on the blue economy and the co-hosted Ocean Seminar between our 2 countries next year. I'd like to request Sweden to reflect a little on the money transfer aspects, because there's a little bit of a hitch on funds being transferred from Sweden to Kenya. I think if we can look at the hitches, it would be very helpful so that we can encourage the trade to move even faster.
The Kenyan economy has undergone a true transformation. There is a booming ICT sector and a vibrant innovation ecosystem.
And to other bilateral ties, Mining and Blue Economy Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya today held a meeting with the Japan ambassador to Kenya in a bid to strengthen blue economy, with Japan promising to support Marines in the coastal region to boost the economy. Mvurya says this is in the process of ensuring all areas surrounded by water have well-equipped landing areas which will support the fishery business.
Sources in the seas. And we have an expert who is working in the Ministry of on Fisheries, and we also have provided we are providing 6 vessels to the fishing authorities. We hope that in addition to the 17 vessels that we provided to the Kenya Coast Guard Service, And I think through these efforts, there will be less illegal fishing outside the seas in Indian Ocean, and the fishermen in the area can benefit from the resources.
Is marine security, and in marine security, apart from the physical support of equipment, we will definitely be tapping into their expertise through training our officers, so that they can be better monitors in the Indian Ocean. We will also be tapping into their expertise in fisheries, because I think Japan is way ahead of our country in terms of even the artisanal fishermen. Right now we are thinking of having landing sites in various points across the Indian Ocean and in the lake. But then we are still at the idea level. Japan is ahead in terms of equipment. Remember, Yamaha is a very big company.
And from the world of business to the world of sports, after this short break, don't go too far.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Not your troubles. Well,
how well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every